Many of you are aware that David and I went to grade school together. We've really been part of the fabric of one another's lives since then. I saw him become a leader from the earliest days. David was always brighter, quicker, and more willing to stand up for his beliefs than the next person. This was as evident in high school as it has been in his career at Germaine. In David, we see a committed individual, not put off by obstacles, who sees clearly what has to be done and who has the self-confidence to pursue his goals. 33 years ago, David took on a new challenge, a challenge with a mission that he embraced and which became the focus of his career. One thing you should know about David, his goals have always been consistent with those of his parents, Saul and Joyce, and they include a sense of pride, integrity, and accomplishment. Providing a service with integrity and a social conscience is no small thing, and creating an organization which impacts so directly on the lives of the girls of Germaine Lawrence, as well as you, the greater Germaine Lawrence and Youth Villages community, has a lasting impact on those it touches. What is this greater community? I can tell you it certainly includes the staff. They're just great. They deserve our thanks. Our greater community includes much more. The opportunity to serve, the opportunity to give, the opportunity to be part of something bigger than oneself is felt by all of us present tonight. I know that the opportunity David gave me more than 30 years ago by asking me to join the then St. Anne's School Board of Directors allowed me to use my skills to serve the girls of Germaine Lawrence, and it has enriched my life. I'm reminded of the Khalil Gibran quote, "I slept and I dreamed that life is all joy. I woke and saw that life is all service. I served and I saw that service is joy." Most of you know David's many talents. It takes many different skills to manage an organization as complex as Germaine Lawrence. Think of all the people who look to David for guidance and leadership. The CEO needed to manage everything from HR to IT, from the clinical practices, staff training, building a campus and buildings, and dealing with the community and government relations and fundraising. It's a lot of different skills. I liken David's career to that of an orchestra conductor, or as the conductor who brings together a multitude of sounds and skills, which becomes a symphony. It's clear to anyone who's worked with David that his commitment knows no bounds when it comes to making the lives of the Germaine Lawrence girls better, happier, and more fulfilling. He is a leader, a thinker, and a planner, and never shirked from the challenges we face together. The decision to merge with Youth Villages is consistent with his leadership. There's a quote attributed to Margaret Thatcher that makes me think of David's life. "Watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions, for they become habits. And watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become." Germaine Lawrence always strived to be the best at residential treatment for girls. Competence and service was at our core. Youth Villages shares that vision. We are fortunate to partner with the best of the best in Youth Villages. However, it didn't happen without thought, without planning, without dedication to David's leadership.
young with hair and no glasses? That was wonderful. It's really something to have Rick say those kind words. We were little kids together. And we've grown up together, and to have him be able to talk about me tonight at my retirement dinner is one of those special things I could possibly experience. Thanks, Rick. First, I want to thank the entire event committee and the development staff, especially Pam, Kathleen, Chris, and of course Germaine. I'll never forget how much your support and efforts have made this event memorable and meaningful year after year for the entire Germaine Lawrence community. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. As I leave Germaine Lawrence, after 33 years, I'm very proud of the past, and I'm equally confident about the future. Let me tell you why. In 1979, I was hired as the executive director of St. Anne's School of Arlington, which had just recently been an Episcopalian boarding school for girls. During my first day on the job, I saw a man across the hall emptying out his office. I introduced myself, and he told me that he'd been the admissions director and he had just been fired. He said the school administration thinks I'm taking the wrong kids, but they have the wrong programs for the kids that the state is sending us. Most of the girls I take, they kick out in a few months. The girls are really troubled, and the school just isn't designed to help them. Well, I was unaware, up to that point, that St. Anne's actually worked with troubled girls. Throughout the entire hiring process, nobody mentioned that detail to me. Maybe I doubted whether he was telling me the truth. So I asked him if I could read some referrals. That's the package of information you get from people like Frank and Alberta. And I read them. And I knew just enough to know these kids had serious problems. Many of them had been in psychiatric hospitals. And then, a few weeks later, I met with a representative from the state who really got my attention. She told me that St. Anne's was doing a poor job with the girls, and that most girls were failing in the program. And that I had 1 year to turn the program around, or we'd get no more referrals, and we would be closed down. See why she got my attention. When I asked her how I should change the school, she said we needed to become a residential treatment center. I didn't tell her I didn't know what she was talking about. But by then I was sure that I had to leave the school for a major transformation. And I knew I couldn't tolerate failing so many girls that had already suffered so much abuse and neglect. So I started talking to people in the field, reading the literature, and in a couple of months, I was able to convince the board of directors to transform the school into a treatment center, and we set the goal of becoming the premier residential treatment center for girls in New England. Yeah, sort of crazy, huh? But I still had to get the blessing of the Order of St. Anne, who owned the property. And I was pretty daunted by that challenge. As you probably noticed, I'm neither an Episcopalian nor a nun, and I thought maybe they perceive me as an outsider for some reason. I also assumed that nuns, in their gray habits, and up Claire and Olga in their gray habits tonight, maybe they were conservative. Maybe they didn't want me to change their school. Well, I had to sit down with Mother Germaine. And I told her the situation, just honestly and directly. And her response was remarkable. Those of you who know me know I am stopping for a second. She told me to use the campus to help the girls the best way possible. She said that the sisters had always done whatever the children needed, even begging for food in Haymarket Square on Fridays. She said, if the girls need a residential treatment center now, I want you to do it. But she wanted one commitment from me. I had to make sure that the campus would always be used to serve children. Well, now the course was set, everyone had signed off, but to make that change, I needed a leadership team who were committed to this vision of creating a premier treatment center and would do the hard work necessary to pull it off. During the summer, before we'd open the program, we worked 7 days a week, learning with our consultants at Wadico, writing policies and hiring staff. And what I want to do now is recognize a few people, Mike and Elaine, who were part of the original leadership team and are still at Germaine Lawrence today, and Sharon and Rudy, who were there the first day we opened the program. Thank you for helping create Germaine Lawrence. I'll never forget contributions. Well, during those first few years, we implemented change after change to improve our services. With all the changes we were making, all of us, staff and board, decided one thing would never change. We would focus solely on girls. And we wouldn't give up on any of them. We would find ways to improve our services so that we would be successful with the most challenging girls around. We might change our name to Germaine Lawrence in a few years, but we never change our mission. We believed that by focusing only on girls, by being highly specialized, we could serve the most troubled girls more effectively than anybody else. And during the next 30 years, we accomplished just that. We are pioneers in developing specialized programs for girls. We developed a program for girls with life-threatening eating disorders in collaboration with Children's Hospital. We developed a program dedicated to girls with substance abuse problems. We developed a treatment protocol for survivors of sexual abuse before other agencies even would say the word sexual abuse. We developed protocols for girls who had sexually offended and set fires. And more recently, we opened the only program in New England dedicated to serve sexually exploited girls. From the beginning, we worked intensely with families and were among the first residential programs to provide in-home therapy. By the mid-90s, Germaine Lawrence had expanded the size and scope of our services enormously. And when Department of Social Services rated all the residential programs in the state, both our assessment center and our residential treatment program were rated the #1 programs of their type. We had come a long way. Then, with the leadership of our board, we built a beautiful campus that reflected the quality of our programs. We all have a lot to be proud of. We went from being a failing school about to close to the best treatment center for girls in New England. I've had a wonderful life at Germaine Lawrence. I consider myself a really lucky man, and I want to thank the people who made it possible. First, I want to thank the staff. I've had the pleasure of working with the most hard-working, compassionate people in the world. They always put the girls first, They were always willing to sacrifice themselves to save others. You know, moment to moment, day to day, these staff feel the pain of the youth they serve. They live with each girl's dangerous and scary behaviors until they can teach the girls new constructive ways of behaving. And from our outcome research, we know that not only do the majority of our girls leave successfully, but a full year after they leave, they've maintained their gains. Our staff have turned their lives around. I love my staff. And I feel so lucky to have spent my career with them. So could all the staff, current staff and past staff, please stand up. Folks, look at these grand men and women. Which of you wouldn't consider it the highlight of your career just to associate with them for even one day? So hard, accomplishing so much. It's been a gift working with you. I also want to thank the girls who have come to Germaine Lawrence. They come often scared and doubtful, always in pain and feeling alone. And then they work so hard, they work so heroically to change their lives. We have some former students here tonight who use the program great and have full lives now. Could students please stand up? It's wonderful to see you all, and it means a lot to me to see you. What I've never talked about before are all of you donors and volunteers. And I want to thank you tonight. No Kleenex up here? Oh, yes. Yeah, it's time for If I don't wipe, I can't read. The support of you donors and volunteers has meant the world to me. I have always found asking for help, especially asking for donations, very difficult. I didn't ever want to do fundraising. And I feel so lucky to have found people like you who could hear my heart and support my vision. I'm lucky to have found, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. It's so special. It's such an honor to have found people who believe in me and would give us the resources to do a great job. I will always cherish the support and the affection that I've felt you've shown me over all the years. Thank you. I can't ask for all these things, that would be silly. A subset of those donors and volunteers are all the people who have served on the board of directors. They're a wonderful group of people who shared my commitment to the girls and out of the goodness of their hearts worked endlessly to make Germaine Lawrence a truly special place. Through committee work and fundraising, they help create outstanding programs at a campus second to none, so the girls will receive the best services possible. Our board always focused on how we could best help the girls. They made tough decisions, they worked hard, and they always remained committed to our mission. Thank you so much for supporting me, and more importantly, Germaine Lawrence. You're all past, and well, you're all past board members now, aren't you? You're all board members. Please stand up. This is the most difficult one. There's one more to go. Finally, I want to thank my wife, Arlene. Arlene has always supported my work. When I was most frustrated, when I had other opportunities and considered leaving Germaine Lawrence, she was steadfast. She never wanted me to leave. Human services might not have been her calling, but she always believed I was doing the most important work in the world. She always believed this was the best place for me to use my talent, my skills, and my energy. Thanks, honey. I am so lucky to have you as my wife. I also feel lucky that I'm leaving Germaine Lawrence in good hands. Youth Villages is an extraordinary organization with a total commitment to kids and families. They have tremendous expertise in residential treatment, and they will ensure our programs stay the best. Just as importantly, they are national leaders in serving challenging families in their homes. Youth Villages is perfectly positioned to be a national leader for years to come. One of the reasons, a critical reason, I'm so happy about Germaine Lawrence being part of Youth Villages is Pat Lawler. Pat Lawler's Youth Villages CEO, and he's remarkably intelligent, energetic, and I've never met a more committed person to kids in my life. The first time I met Pat, he told me, I want to transform the child welfare system in America. I want to change the way we treat abused and neglected children in our country. That's pretty ambitious. But you know, when you hear Pat Lawler say it, you don't only believe he means it, you believe he can do it. Let me give you just one more insight into who Pat is. Pat, like most of us, likes to take a winter vacation. But his vacations are a bit different than at least most of ours. For several years, Pat's winter vacation meant going to Honduras, not for the beaches, but to stay in a destitute village, the same village year after year, live with a family, and work to help the children and families in that village solve problems and live a better life. Now think about it. Imagine, if that's what Pat does during a vacation, how much can he accomplish when he's actually working? My hope is that each of you will ensure my vision continues by supporting the girls at the campus and taking the time to learn how you can help Youth Villages move forward. So, as I leave, I can feel confident about the future, knowing that Germaine Lawrence is part of Youth Villages. I feel confident that the campus will always serve children, just as Mother Germaine wished. And I'm confident because the campus will be led by Ann Morgan. I worked within Ann and Germaine Lawrence for over 25 years. She started at Germaine Lawrence right out of college as a child care worker. That's the lowest job you can have. She later became program director of that top-rated assessment program I talked about. She was running with them. And she